exquisite perfection of God, light of God, finding the conscious willingness in this moment to accept the beauty and perfection that is truly within. That beauty and perfection that is found in the stillness, in the heart bursting open as a flame of love, no longer held back, but allowing the heart to lead, allowing love to lead in every moment, trusting the divine perfection of love to lead the way to love itself, willing to be led as the heart comes forward, open and available in the divine wisdom of all that is. In this moment, finding the yes, to relinquish all beliefs of this day, all thoughts of reasons and assumptions and conclusions that were made from what seemed like the tiniest of decisions to the large decisions, and recognizing that all decisions made in the belief of fear and the belief of aloneness are all the same. The no to God. And now in this moment, the willingness to surrender all of the resistance of this day that came in any form, willing to embrace the divine forgiveness, the yes to love, the divine forgiveness that affirms that all that was thought in separation was a mistaken identity. All decisions made of this day that were in separation, in the belief of I am making a decision, I am in charge, I am figuring things out, I am knowing. All of that surrendered into the hands of God. The willingness in this moment to place the future into the hands of God. Relinquishing the future and all that you have fantasized everything should look like, all control over every situation being surrendered. Surrendered into the hands of God for love. To be transformed into love and to open to the brilliance and the ever-present light of love. To truly place the future into the hands of God, not knowing how anything needs to unfold, what anything means, what it's for, just accepting that in this moment all is perfection, all is love. Nothing is missing. No one is without. No one is separate. Only love exists. And breathing into this moment. Breathing deeply and fully. Conscious breathing with the intention of being filled with the breath of love. The willingness to come into union, into the sacred union of love through breath. Breathing. Breathing and allowing that in this moment there is only surrender. Only love. Breathing. Consciously aware of this moment, and yet in that awareness, present moment, the willingness to rest as you stay present. Following the guidance of God. And finding the prayer of the heart. I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. I no longer want to make decisions in separation. I no longer want to depend on the past for conclusions and opinions. I say yes to love. Breathing deeply and fully. Breathing into the throat consciously, inviting the throat to open, available to love's healing, to the light itself. Breathing into the spine, inviting the spine to open and be surrendered into the hands of God. Nothing held in separation. Nothing held as mine. Breathing into the shoulders, arms and hands, everything surrendered to be used as the instrument of love. All thoughts about how the body should work, how the body should function, what the body means, everything surrendered into the hands of God. Breathing into the heart and inviting the heart to come forward, open and available. Purposely bringing the heart forward with intention. Not wanting to keep the heart covered up in defense in any way, but willing to let the heart meet itself with all of humanity, with the spirit of love open. Breathing into the belly, surrendering all the organs, everything into the hands of God. Letting everything function for love, as love, with love. Breathing into the hips and thighs, knees, calves, ankles, and feet, all surrendered to God, all surrendered to love. Every identity that is held within the body surrendered into the hands of God. Every nuance of movement surrendered into the hands of God. Willing to no longer be a victim of the identity as the body. Breathing. Surrendering the emotional body into the hands of God, into the arms of love. Surrendering all the perceived thoughts that come through the emotional body into the hands of God in this moment, consciously wanting to surrender, willing to surrender. surrendering all identity with the emotional body, all thoughts of suspicions, knowing, caution, all the perceptions of needing to be in control of any kind, all surrendered into love. All reactions surrendered into love. Willing for the emotional body to express compassion, tranquility, harmony, peace, and joy. The truth of love. And breathing deeply and fully. And affirming in this moment consciously, with full intention, that in the infinite circle of love we are one. This sanctuary is filled with love. This holy union of love, releasing all identity with the body, all identity with what's going on, what it all means. Everything surrendered into the holy union of love. One divine spirit, the truth of God. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within the truth of oneness, we live and move and breathe as one. Relinquishing the separate identity that seems to be identified as the body, surrendering into the hands of God. The willingness to be the instrument of love, and to express only love, and to allow the guidance of love to be in front in every moment, leading the way. Breathing, allowing, accepting. Opening your heart in this moment to accept the divine healing of love. Being available in your yes. I am Mary of Conception. I am seeking to open your heart, offering my love and guidance as your suffering world comes apart. Bring your pain like a flower to open. Bring your sorrow to place at my feet. Tears that are watering my garden in the river of Jordan will meet. Oh, my children, I seek your surrender. Both the path and the message are clear. My Saint John is walking beside you, holding your hand through this fear. Keep your strength as you seek to be humble. Let the power that guides you reveal all the blessings of my holy rapture, confirming you know what is real. The Divine Mother is seeking to open your heart in this moment. Are you willing? Are you offering? Is your heart available to be opened by love itself? The Divine Mother is offering love and guidance. Are you accepting? Are you wanting to be guided? Is every element within you, every yearning to be guided? Show me the way, please. I don't know the way. With every moment in every day, are you wanting to be guided? Are you wanting to be led into a new world of love? Bring your pain like a flower to open. Bring your sorrow to place at my feet. Placing sorrow at the feet of love. But first, there has to be an awareness of what's running. Questioning the illusion of control. And going down deeper into the heart and into the belief of suffering so that it can be surrendered. Opening, opening, opening. Keep your strength as you seek to be humble. The humility of love that recognizes, I don't know how to do this life. I don't know the way. If I continue to think I know and make decisions for myself, I will stay in the same place. And nothing will be available to be healed. Because the same knowing will run just as in the past. It's time for surrender. Time to allow the light to lead. To trust in the power of love is to allow the guidance. To follow. I must love. I must love completely in the heart. I must be available to love. Blessed Mother is the one who has called me to love with all of my heart, to step out of my knowing, and to learn to love. To enter into the awareness that you cannot be in your knowing and in the truth of an open heart at the same time. You choose the master when you choose your knowing or your heart. Oh, my Blessed Mother, Divine Mother, you hold us in the truth of forgiveness, forgiving all mistaken identities and opening to be led. We are here to remember love. Divine Mother, we say yes to the true forgiveness, forgiving all mistaken identities, all mistaken thoughts of knowing, all mistaken decisions made in separation. We say yes to forgiveness so that we may remember to love completely with the heart, in complete equality, loving equally in every moment. No one less deserving of love than another. No decision of love less than another. Every moment opening to divine guidance, to divine love. I must love. I am here to remember love. Elevo a mão no coração, o Virgem Mãe foi quem me deu para eu amar ao Senhor Deus. Virgem Mãe, Divina Mãe, vos nos perdoe os filhos seus, para nos amar ao Senhor Deus. Divino Pai, Rei Criador, vos nos perdoe, nos pecadores, para nos amar com grande amor. I must love. I must love, or I will stay in the belief of separation. I must love. I must love to step into freedom, the freedom of love itself, the freedom of peace and harmony and joy, the peace of divine humility. I must love. So when the beloved who is known as Hafiz comes to offer love, recognizing that it is exactly the same vibration of love. Every divine being is always offering love, is always offering guidance, is always offering to lead you if you are willing to be led. The Buddha stood by and watched. It is just love and I now doing whatever happens. If someone were to spill some soup upon me, I would understand, knowing it wanted to get close the best it could. All comes your way for a reason. Everything is working the room and making valuable connections. It snowed once more than it had in years upon a village in Tibet, and come spring the temperature climbed way higher than normal. A tidal wave of slush roared down the mountain and wiped out many families. The Buddha stood by and watched, then walked slowly off. What the average person did not see was that all those souls dove headfirst into him. He mixed them in his being. They ran through his veins, shouting with joy. What could you know of anything if you have a list of complaints and think you know anything? There is an entire world that is waiting to be entered into, of love, of harmony, of peace, of joy. But all the knowing in the world stands in the way. Because everything that is known in this world is about differences, is about scarcity, lack. That's all that's being known in this world. The belief of success, the belief of conquering something. And yet, if you would open, if you would let go of what you think you know, a whole universe is there for you. The universe of love, the universe of harmony and peace. It's not being kept away. It's just not available while your mind is in its knowing. I'm going to repeat, it's not kept away from you. The ego would love to think that somehow the universe, God, is not cooperating because there is this determination to be in control and know and run your life. It is essential to recognize the determination of the ego. It is not your friend. It is fear. It is fear that's wrapped up in all these different elements of reasoning, conclusions. All comes your way for divine purpose. All. When you are in your knowing, you are separating constantly, all day long. The mind is incessantly active, parsing and making everything with an identity and a separate purpose. And of course, one of the ones that the ego loves the best is likes and dislikes. Because when you have likes and dislikes, when you give that credence, you are separating the world into compartments that you believe keeps you safe. When you try to keep yourself safe, you're not available for love. Now this would seem to be completely upside down, because it would seem that if you were trying to keep yourself safe, that would get you closer to love. And it's just the upside downness. The belief that you are your identity, that you are separate, that you are a body, that you are temporary, all says the same thing. I have to protect what I have. And yet love is wanting to lead you into love, undefended, freedom, peace, joy, harmony. It's who you are. But you don't have any relationship with it unless you're willing to open the channel of love that will lead you gently into the awareness of peace and stillness and joy. How can you know your true self when you've made an image that is a limited perception of difficulty? And how can you know yourself, not know with your mind, not know with your reasoning, but with your heart, awareness? How can you enter into that awareness when you are occupied with your knowing, with your separate identity, when you're protecting your separate identity? While you're protecting your separate identity, you're over here being preoccupied. It takes all your energy. It takes all your all your day. And the only payoff at the end of the day is that you have a sense of some kind of either satisfaction that you have been in good control today, but underneath it is you're quivering in fear because you're still afraid of the world, because you were in charge of your world today, you thought. There's no peace. It's not possible. It's not possible. And no one is keeping peace from you. God is not keeping peace from you. Or joy, harmony, it's all the same. The only thing that holds that door closed is your no to being led, to questioning your intentions during your day of what the purpose is of every moment. Is it for love? Is it to offer love undefended? Or is it with reason? You know the reason and you decide what everything is for. So as Hafiz, all comes your way for purpose. But how can you be available for the true purpose if you think you know? If you have already decided, I know what this is for. And look at the divine offering in this prayer. If someone were to spill some soup on me, I would recognize, knowing it wanted to get close the best it could because it's in love. If somebody spilled some soup on you, what would your reaction be? Oh no, something is wrong. Something is, I don't like this. This is not good. And in that reaction, that is the mind. That is the ego that makes that nanosecond decision because you are not being asked to be guided. You're not really wanting to be guided. In that moment, you believe you know. You know that the spilled soup is not good, that it's causing you a problem because you made that up. You made it up that this was a problem. You weren't available that maybe the soup was trying to get closer to you. You weren't available for the mysteries of the divine that are moving through the third dimension without being in awareness by the ego. You aren't available because you think you know, and you're closing the door before it even has the opportunity of getting your attention. This is the journey of love. The journey of love is, I'm going to pay attention. I'm not going to fill the space with what I know. I'm going to ask, what is this truly for? I'm going to deny the reaction in the moment, the jump to I know, and I'm going to figure it out. Let's say some soup got spilled on you and the reaction is embarrassment. It doesn't matter what the reaction is. The reaction is I know. Whether it comes through the emotional body or it's directly available as I'm thinking this. I like it, I don't like it. I agree, I disagree. I approve, I don't approve. This is your prison. It's the prison. everything is working the room and making valuable connections, are you available? That everything of love is working the room, are you available? Are you in your heart and available? Or is the mind just running in its status quo of, I'm thinking what I want to think and I'm making conclusions of what I like, but I'm not available. And then I'm upset because I don't seem to have this spiritual connection. The spiritual connection can't be anywhere else but within you. Can't be. But you can fail to hear it. You can fail to be available because you're not choosing to be available. Everything is working the room and making valuable connections. Are you available? Do you want to be available? Do you want to breathe in the moment and come into this divine union that is here, that is always here? Where are you? It's always here. There is never a moment that love isn't here. That love isn't all that there is. That God, the power of God, is not completely here. But if you are busy in your mind with conclusions and reasons and decisions, you aren't available. It's like being in a movie where there's all of this movement going on around you and you're not aware of it because you're thinking. You're busy thinking and you're not available because you have to know. You have things to think about. All of that thinking is never present. It can't be, because it's not of love. So in that, you're not available to be present. You're busy with your perception of needs. You're busy with your perception of what everything means, of your conclusions, but they're all in the past, and then they're leaping into the future trying to figure things out. But here in this moment is where you actually exist. Where are you? And the mind would even like to say, oh yeah, I'm right here. I'm thinking. I'm thinking right here. Want to know? Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a mystical laser that would open the brain and let everyone see all the thoughts that are running? To have them all exposed. It's not about judgment. It's about, this is what I'm wasting my time with. This is what I'm giving time to. These thoughts that are just running, making up things instead of opening the heart and being available in love. Nothing to do. Why is this prayer so powerful? I am here only to be truly helpful. Truly helpful. Only truly helpful. Which is really saying, I only have one purpose here. It's to remember love. Am I serving to remember love in this moment? I am here only to be truly helpful to my remembering. to humanity's remembering. Am I in that dedication in this moment? I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because love will direct me. Love will direct. Absolutely, but I have to ask. I have to ask. It will not come uninvited. The guidance cannot come uninvited. It cannot force you to ask. You cannot be forced. You have free will. And as long as you choose the habits of the past, you won't be available, that everything is working the room. You won't be available for that divine dimension of love that is waiting for communion. Why wouldn't you be overjoyed to have guides that will lead you? Because it would take you out of the past. The guidance of love will only take you out of the past, out of the identity of the past. But the craziness of the ego is that the ego complains about the past. Oh, such sorrow. I cried a lot and lamented the past and everything that I knew. I'm going to leave everything and live among the flowers with my Blessed Mother. You're lamenting the past, but at the same time, are you wanting to also stay in the past so you stay in what you know? Because that's all the past. It's kind of like getting a new outfit and thinking that somehow you changed something. I feel so different. I have a new outfit on. That's the key. I feel different because I changed something on the body. I changed my circumstance, I changed my address, I changed my whatever, it doesn't matter what. And you get that little high of why I changed something. There's something new here. No, there isn't. There isn't. It's all the same stuff. You're just in the past, and you just have this vision right now of little girls playing with paper dolls that you stick on little dresses with little tabs on with shoulders. And you look at that like, oh, look what I made. I changed something dramatically here. But nothing's changed. You're still in the past. You have a new outfit on? Change something? Got a tan? Doesn't matter what it is. Nothing's changing. You live in the past until you truly want to surrender what you think you know, because that's all that's holding the past, is what you think you know. When the tidal wave of slush roared down the mountain and wiped out the families, the Buddha stood by and watched and then walked away slowly. Oh, how rude. There isn't even a question there of what is he able to see that I'm not available to, that I'm not, am I willing to enter that questioning? Or do I leap to conclusions of what I think I know? Doesn't matter what it's about. Am I leaping to a conclusion rather than what's really here? What would be really helpful? I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because love will direct me. Am I willing to be directed to see beyond what I think I see, because everything that is being seen, what this prayer is about, is the wake up. Wake up and recognize that whatever you are perceiving with your eyes, whatever you think you know through your perception of your senses, is a perception of limitation, is an identity that's already been established in your belief of separation. To put your trust in the divine, in the power of love, and to remove your trust, your faith in your senses. Show me the way. I don't know what that slush coming down from the mountain and all those people that got swept away. I don't know what this means. I don't know. In the past, I would have given it the meaning that there was death, because I believed in death, because I believed in tragedy, because I believed in hardship, because I believed in temporariness. Do you even recognize that all those beliefs are in there, in that one decision of the meaning of what that meant? It carries all the identity of separation. All the identity. Every single time you make a decision based on what you know, all of the belief of separation is within it. The belief of death, the belief of lack, the belief of separation, the belief of difficulty, the belief of getting, the belief of fixing, the belief of succeeding. It's all wrapped up in there. What the average person could not see was that all those souls dove headfirst into him. He mixed them in his being. They ran through his veins, shouting with joy. Maybe you think that this is the farce. Maybe you think that this is the writings of a mad person. Someone who's not very grounded in this world and doing a good job of controlling this world. No, he's not doing a good job of controlling this world, because there's nothing to control. There's no loss. These beloveds that dove in through his veins, in the moment of that diving in, recognized, it's just love. What story was I going to make up? That there was death and destruction and loss, and I was sure of it. It's letting go of your surety, the surety of what you think you know. It is all day long. And there's no other way. Truly, there's no other way. When you hear a noise, do you jump up and run to make sure you are safe? Or do you ask God, Spirit, to guide you of the acceptance of the offering of this moment? So if you take this, all comes your way for purpose. It's all for the purpose of love. There's no other purpose. It's for the purpose of remembering. So if you hear a noise and you react, it's because you're not available to ask, what is the offering here? You are in your knowing immediately, out of habit. And this is why the habit is being called to be surrendered. So it's not just surrendering it in the moment when you hear the loud noise. It's all day long. Lead me. I will make no decisions by myself. I don't want to make any more decisions from the past, from what I think I know. Ask yourself only one question. Do I want to know God's will for me? Do I want to know God's will for me? Really? This is the same question as what do you truly want? Do I want to know God's will for me? Do I want to ask, what is God's will for me in this moment? What is most helpful in this moment? And it's guaranteed that you have a split, that you have a choice to make, because there is the mind that is already believing that it knows everything and is deciding and reasoning and coming up with reasons and conclusions and approvals and disapprovals, and that's already in place. So it's the letting go of the habit of how you've always lived and choosing instead, show me the way. I'm not willing to run this life anymore in this old way. I want to be led. There is another clear distinction that is extremely helpful. When you have a reason for a decision, you are guaranteed that you are making up your own mind. It's not to fool yourself into thinking, oh yes, I was called to that, oh yes, that was guidance, and then I give a reason for it. When you receive guidance, there's no reason for it. That has to come from the mind. Conclusions, decisions, figuring things out, if it's going to be good or bad, if it makes sense, if it's... all of that is the exhaustion of the mind. But that's where the ego lives, is in that decision making that makes sense. To what? Makes sense to you. Then you can be very clear that you have not really received guidance, because in guidance you get a very clear guidance that has no reasoning, because that's part of the guidance's purpose, is to guide you without reasoning, because reasoning is just defense. I took out the garbage because it's Thursday and the garbage has to go out on Thursdays, or else we'll have a pile of garbage that won't fit into the can next week. This is all defense. The fear of having garbage. The fear that garbage means something about you. You believe that it gives you safety. You've reasoned that out. You've made a protection out of taking out the garbage. And it means all other kinds of reasons too. Then I'm a good neighbor because my house doesn't stink, and I'm a reasonable person, and I like things in order, and I know how things should be. This is your world. But the opposite can be true too. I refuse to take out the garbage because I don't like to. It's just the other side of the coin. And yet, there can be a divine teaching if you ask, is it helpful for me to take out the garbage? Show me the way. I don't know. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because love will direct me. And love will direct me for the purpose of healing, not for the purpose of better homes and gardens. Not for the purpose of looking better in the illusion of separation. For healing, for the opportunity to trust and to let go of all the meaning that you have given to taking out the garbage. It doesn't matter, you can apply it to anything. Apply it to everything, because that's what's running, is the belief of the need to defend. That's the meaning that you're giving to everything, that you want to be defended, that you feel you need to be defended, that there is something to protect yourself from in this world. And yet there's nothing to protect, nothing to defend. And yet you can't embrace that without letting go of your defenses. You can't hold on to your defenses and your strategies in the world and your rules in the world and ask for a new way. You can't hold them both. Ask yourself one question. What is God's will for me? But do you really want to ask the question? That's the first key. Do you really want to ask the question? Do you want the answer? Do you really want to be led and let go of the rules of your world? What they all mean. There's no other way but to question what is running. In meditation, you're emptying yourself of identity. The rules aren't there in meditation. You're not, oh, I can meditate and hold on to my rules and keep track of my time and know what I'm going to do next and think about where I'm going and think about what I'm doing. You can't meditate and think at the same time. That's the purpose. That's the grace and the gift of meditation, is to, in that sense, empty yourself, come into peace and stillness, and recognize that all these thoughts don't have any real purpose. Because when you're in meditation, you're resting. There was a teacher one of the first teachers that I had, and this was probably 20 years ago, or 25 years ago. And one of her teachings was, the only thing you really need your mind for is to tie your shoes. And that's questionable. I was shocked when I heard that. I mean, it was such a foreign world. How could that be? When everything that you think means something. And here was this teacher offering, the only thing you need your mind for is to tie your shoes. Open yourself to the divine and open the world of love so that you can be aware of everything that is working in the room and making valuable connections. It isn't about being a good psychic or some kind of channel or anything. It's about your own connection. It's about that is the more natural state. And it is through the connection of that there is a world of love here that I'm not available for because I'm identified here as a separate being, a separate life, a separate body, a separate identity, a separate knowing, a separate plan. And I want to hold my image together. allow yourself in this moment to just touch into what image are you holding right now of yourself? What is the image that is running in this moment? Someone together, someone not together, someone liking control, someone believing that the body is who I am, my age, my height, my weight, it's all not true. It's all not true. It isn't who you are. But you can't be available for who you are unless you question the beliefs of what you think you are. You can't open, it's what am I if I'm not this? But if you're in this place of saying, I'm not, don't even ask the question, I am just keeping everything the way it is, then there is not the availability for love to enter. And it isn't that you aren't already that love, you are. You are complete and whole, you're the truth of God, completely. But you've made a false image. You've made a false identity. And you answer to that false identity. And the first step in breaking that trance is to ask for guidance of a new way. Show me the way. Show me the way to see the truth that is here in this moment, the beauty, the perfection, that has nothing to do with what I think I know. Love is wanting to communicate. Let me perceive no differences today. What if you perceive no differences today? How could you function with seeing no differences today? That would mean that there were no differences between hot and cold. There would be no differences between light and dark. There would be no differences between dirty and clean. Oh no, not dirty and clean. No, we can't give up those differences. Those are too important. No differences. All the elements that you have put as separation in the world are differences. They're identified as differences. Clean clothes, dirty clothes? Do you really think that there's a difference? What is the difference between clean clothes and dirty clothes? Except in your own mind. If there isn't any. What would you use as a reason for the differences between clean clothes and dirty clothes? You like clean clothes, you don't like dirty clothes. Clean clothes smell better, but then that would be your senses that would be the decider of something good or bad. Everything is being given a reason. I have always washed all my clothes every week. I have to. Who's the decider? Who decides this? If everything is for your healing, are you willing to surrender what you think you know, every habit, into the hands of God, to be used for healing, to break the trance of identity? Isn't it worth it to break the trance of identity, to give up your habits? Now, if you see it as sacrifice, then it's going to become a battle. Because if you insist that clean clothes mean something, and you are the decider of what it means, then you stay in your world. So this would then mean that someone who is not bathing every day or not wearing clean clothes every day is what? Less? Not up to standards? You don't like that? Go to another country and see that there are beloveds who take a bath once a month. There are beloveds who wash their clothes once a month, maybe. There are beloveds who don't have a bathtub, don't have a shower. What is it that is your world that you are holding on to that means something to you? It's everything. It's everything because you're giving it the meaning. And until you see that you're giving it the meaning, you will continue to suffer with it because it will continue to separate you from us with a separate identity. I wash my clothes because I like clean clothes. What if you put it into the hands of God? What would be helpful? I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because love will direct me. Is it helpful for my healing to not wash these clothes? I'm questioning everything because I've made a world of separation. And the world runs as I like it as long as I believe that I'm in control of it. If the washing machine breaks, trouble. My world is no longer intact. Whatever it is, it's all the letting go because there's no peace there. Once you've made up your mind that this is good and this is not good, this is bad and this is good, you have to protect it. You have to defend that. You have to make sure that everything is protected in your estimation. But this is also why there's all these battles in the world. Every time you have an opinion, someone else is going to have an opinion that doesn't match it. Someone's going to have the opinion that they believe differently. And then you've separated yourself from your salvation. This isn't about sacrifice. This is about freedom and recognizing that when you hold yourself in your world of knowing and don't question, you aren't open for freedom. You aren't open for healing. You aren't available to be shown a new way. And the element of this healing is that you would trust without being in charge. That you would give up your autonomy. That you would give up your knowing because your knowing is a defense system. That's all that it is. To say I don't know is to let go of the script, the identity, the plan. But how can you trust in love? How can you trust the divine and still want to hold on to control of your world? You can't trust the divine and melt into the divine and hold on to your world. But it's the recognition, and this is the blinder place. It's like a horse wearing blinders that can't see outside its own space. Thinks this is the whole world. Look, there's no other world here. Those blinders are that there is not the awareness or the willingness to be aware that your world, your control of your world has never brought you to joy or peace or harmony. You've settled for little bits of pleasure here or there. Got a new outfit. The new outfit gave me a little high. I'll settle for that as long as I can keep control. I bought a lottery ticket. A scratch ticket gave me a high. I'll settle for that. I think it's a pretty good trade-off for the universe. But this is the insanity of the perception of thinking that your knowing is serving you. How many thoughts a day do you have of judgment? How many opinions do you have a day? Let me perceive no differences today. We who are one would recognize this day the truth about ourselves. We would come home and rest in unity where there is peace, and nowhere else can peace be sought and found. It doesn't say here that, yeah, you'll be able to find peace someplace else in your own making by following your rules. It says nowhere else will peace be found. Nowhere else. If you accept that, then why not follow? Why not be available for guidance? Maybe it's just too much trouble. It's annoying to stop and ask when you already have a system in place. You can see it that way. If it's annoying, then look to see what the annoyance is giving you. What do you think the annoyance is? How is that helpful to you? Is it your friend? Is it just too much bother because you have such a good system? To stop and ask. To question what's running. What are these conclusions? What is this for? What was the intention behind? Because this is the other element of guidance and of surrender, is that when you make a decision on your own, you can question it. You're encouraged to question what is running that decision. What is it for? Is it to protect yourself? Is it to be in more control? Is it to get something? Is it to win something? Is it to succeed at something? Is it to feel safer? Is it of peace? Is it of harmony? Is it an offering of love? And when you really begin to question the motives, you begin to see the strategies that are running all day. Today I will see no differences. Can you embrace that day? Do you want to embrace that day? That's the question. Do you want to embrace a day with no differences, where you have no conclusions, opinions, or splits with anything? Because that's the question. Are you battling yourself to stay separate? Or are you coming into a willingness? The willingness the yes is everything. This day I choose to spend in perfect peace. this day I choose to spend in perfect peace. This is the day you could have a day of peace. If I choose to spend the day in peace today, it's because I have no opinions. It's that I have no worries, that I have no concerns, that I have no conclusions, that I don't have any differences that are running. Then I can be at peace today. O divine light, would I pass this day with you? Your child has not forgotten. The peace that you offer holds him, and there I choose to spend today. With God, with Spirit, with love, communing all day long. Your divine friends, your divine companions, the Buddha, Krishna, all present. Jesus, Chris, Blessed Mother, all present. Wanting to spend the day with you in love and light and ease and harmony and peace. Just a day, an hour, but letting go of conclusions and opinions. How many perceptions do you believe you had today of what you think everything meant? It's really essential to see that it doesn't say knowledge. Divine, how many moments of divine knowledge did you have today? But how many perceptions did you have today? That's what was running all day. There's nothing in a perception that is of knowledge. Everything that you are perceiving is coming from your past. You have no place else to glean it from. This is why it's the calling to surrender and be guided. I will step back and let God lead the way. This stepping back is the pause of what's most helpful here. I'm not clear. I'm stepping back. I'm allowing. I'm wanting to be guided. I'm wanting to question what is running. What do I truly want in this moment? You walk into a room. Your mind is saying, it's 12 o'clock, it's noon, it must be lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
I have made all these decisions. It's 12 o'clock, it's noon, it's lunchtime. Food must be made because it's lunchtime. These are all conclusions. These are all opinions instead of what is most helpful for healing in this moment. What will serve healing in this moment? I don't know. Surrendering time, surrendering the relationship with food, surrendering the habits, everything into the hands of God and saying, show me the way. I don't know. I don't know what's most helpful. I'm willing to be shown. But the mind is making up all these conclusions. What if you walk in a room and you perceive that something is crooked? A piece of furniture, a rug, whatever. You perceive something as crooked. You give it a meaning right away. It's not straight. I want it straight. But that was the moment where all comes your way for a purpose. but you weren't available because the mind came in and said, this is how it should be. It didn't stop and say, is there a healing here that I can receive? I don't know how anything should look, and I don't know how anything, no right or wrong. I'm available, I don't know. I'm available for the healing that's available right here, right now. If I am not in my mind saying, oh, that's crooked, I have to straighten it. Is it helpful for me to straighten this? Or is that a healing for another beloved who will pass it in a moment and be healed in some way that I don't have an awareness of? Everything is available for healing in every moment if you are willing to drop in and invite the healing that is presenting itself all the time, instead of making up your own mind about what you think you know. I'm reminded of a movie called Poltergeist, where they walk into the room and all the chairs are on top of the table, where the chairs had just been on the floor by the table, by the dining room table, and now they're all on top of the table. Everything has a purpose. Would you be freaked out? Or would you stop and ask, what is this? What's most helpful here? I don't know. And what is the teaching here? Or are you wanting everything to come back to its normal place so that you feel like everything is in control? Spirit of love is wanting to guide you in every moment. That loving kindness, the strength of love, the power of love, the light of love, the truth of love, the truth of the universe is wanting to lead you. This I promise. There is no question. Love is always available, but are you? You have to make yourself available to be led. You have to want to be led. I've said before to beloveds, it's very important. It's an element of spiritual healing to recognize what you truly want. And let that burn in you. I want it. I want to remember the truth of love. I want peace. I want harmony. I want tranquility. I want joy. I want it because it's the truth of who I am. I don't want a false life anymore. I don't want a false identity anymore. I don't want a false illusion. I don't want to be in a dream anymore. I want to be in the reality of love. And if you don't have that wanting, then toss out all your spiritual material. Toss it. Because it's just a game. It's a game like of show and tell, that I'm going to memorize teachings or something and have a spiritual identity. But really, there's a teaching of Jesus that says, forget this teaching, forget this book, forget everything that you think you know, and come empty onto God. Come empty. Every moment empty onto God. Naked. Unclean clothes maybe. Whatever. Unbrushed hair. Imagine. Come empty unto God. become naked. In the hymn from Jose, I am light. Here I present myself, here where I am. Feel the humility in that offering. Here I present myself, here where I am. No mask, no self-image, no excuses, no nothing. Just here I am. Take me and unravel everything that I made up. Here I present myself into love. Here where I am. Nothing to hide from God. Nothing to defend. Nothing to protect. I truly want to remember love. And let that lead you in every moment. Fully. So in this moment, are there any questions?
I had a question.
Yes, my darling.
This morning I was sitting in the park by the creek on a bench by myself, and I think the mystical lazy was talking about earlier was operating because I was just seeing these thoughts racing through my mind. So I tried to stop it, tried to meditate. I asked for help. Nothing worked. Nothing stopped it. I just kept it up. And I said, it's insane to have this going on, and I didn't know why I could do it. So finally I just got this loving my mistaken identity and stopped even trying. I was wondering if you had any comments on that or anything to say about it.
It's the blessing to be able to see the insanity. So it's an answer to your prayer, because we have to see the insanity for what it is, not as an indictment.
No.
But as an awareness of, oh, this is what's running, and this is insane, and the willingness to, oh wow, this is actually insane.
But like I'm choosing it. I believe I'm choosing, but it didn't feel like it,
No, it is, but it's what you made.
Right.
It's your mind.
Right.
It's all what you made. It's not. So it isn't about trying to control it. It's about recognizing, I don't want this running my life, and I'm not giving it any worth. I'm not fighting with it because it's illusion. It's not really true, but because I believe in it, I believe that it has power. But if you observe it and don't give it credence, then it finally goes away, because it doesn't have any, if you're not fueling it.
Right.
You're the only one who can actually fuel it and give it value, give it viability.
Right. So the loving my mistaken identity was the closest I could get to that.
It isn't really loving your mistaken identity, because that's really like offering love to something that doesn't exist. It's not about loving it, but it's not about hating it. It's just, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
It just doesn't mean anything. You're loving yourself, your true self. So it isn't an indictment.
Right. I see what you're saying.
So it's a compassion of, oh wow, this is, when this runs me, I'm in pain.
Oh yeah.
It's just painful, and that isn't God's will for me. So that's the compassion, but it's really recognizing it as made up and having no worth.
I would have had 1,000 perceptions a minute. That's how fast those go.
Yeah. And that's what's running.
Yeah.
When you think, and it's everything. And you know, to stop and really ask, is it helpful for me to sit in this chair? Is it helpful for me to stand up? Is it helpful? It's a surrender. It isn't because you can't stand up on your own.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't because you can't choose a chair. You've been choosing chairs for, 50 years. But it's the actual relinquishment of, I don't want to make any decisions on my own, because that's what's running. What you saw is what is making your decisions for you.
Right.
That's where it's coming from, is from that what you could see was just, junk.
Junk.
Just junk.
That's exactly right.
And it's almost, and it's not to be deceived by, you can actually say, well, it is the junk of humanity, because there are no original thoughts. You may, it's like one beloved will think their thoughts are just really exceptional. I have really good thoughts. I make really good decisions. I'm constantly in charge. I'm handling everything really, really well. I like my decisions. It's still junk. It's just junk.
Well, what about asking for help in that situation?
Well, the help is to find, yes, of course, asking for help, of course. But it's the help of, let me not be at the effect of this.
Right.
And let me take my attention away. There's a beautiful teaching that focuses on intolerance, to stop being tolerant of your mind wanderings, right? You are much too tolerant of your mind wanderings. Well, that's a very graceful way of saying it's all junk. It's all garbage that's in there. And when you see it as the garbage that it is, and that's not a judgment. I'm not saying that as judgment, like it's bad. It's just meaningless. It's just, it's like you tuned into a radio that has, whatever on running, and there's nothing helpful there.
Right.
There's no truth there. Then you surrender it. But the key is that it is essential to recognize that the thoughts are meaningless. Because if you don't recognize that, then you keep giving your thoughts value and credence, and then you keep inviting that separate identity to be in charge.
And that is the key, I see.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
So it's a wonderful blessing to see it doesn't mean you have to see it. You can choose to trust that if the divine teachings are saying these thoughts are meaningless, then I'm going to put my faith in that divine teaching. I'm going to accept that as the truth, because I want to leave this limited identity. I don't want to live here. Thank you. It's beautiful, beautiful, perfect element in this moment. The beauty of that question, and the beauty of what you experienced in that, it's not the experience of it, but it's the teaching of it that you received, is that is now everyone's. When you are healed, you're not healed alone. So when you receive that, everyone can take that. They don't have to, I wish I could see that my thoughts are junk. It just, they're the same thoughts.
Well, I mean, there's a lesson, a number of lessons in the Course in Miracles say that,
Mm-hmm.
but I hadn't thought about it, but you saying it reminded me of it, not through the lesson, but none of them mean, no thoughts mean anything,
Nope.
you know, but
They're
I hadn't.
meaningless. And the ego would take that as an insult. When you are identified as your ego, as you believe that you are separate and you are that identity,
Mhm.
to say that your thoughts are meaningless is insulting, or can be perceived as being insulting. Oh no, my thoughts are different. My thoughts are exceptional. They make I make good decisions. But everything is being called to be surrendered and be led. And you can feel the trust, that it's a leap of faith. It's a leap of trust to put your day into the hands of God and say, I will make no decisions today on my own. I want to be led.
This morning it was so painful to watch that, but it didn't feel like a leap to get out of it, want to get out of it.
Exactly.
It
And
was
that's
just-
where it's
yeah.
so, and then that everyone can receive that.
Mhm.
That if, again, I was given a teaching early that was, I had not one original thought. Nothing was original.
Mhm.
No one has an original thought. Nothing is any different than what Jonah was seeing. He was seeing it for everybody. And to be able to take that and be willing to accept, those are my meaningless thoughts. They're the same meaningless thoughts. And not even recognizing that those meaningless thoughts make you sick.
Take what?
Make you sick. They make you sick. They make you disturbed. They make you upset. They make you nervous. They make you unhappy, because they're meaningless and they're filled with distortion. Because the belief is, I'm separate. I'm without.
Mm.
I'm without love. And this is the lie that all these thoughts are based on. All these perceptions are all based on I am without love. And it's not true, thank God. But it is the calling to surrender and be led, to open to that divine guidance that is wanting to serve you. Love is wanting to serve you. We're in this moment affirming